Hey guys, Magnus here, and I am not done with the topic of aspirational buildings. So, a week ago I guess, I made a video basically ranking all of the aspirational vehicles, aspirational buildings. I mainly did it just because it was kind of random and it popped into my head like, oh, I've never done that before, why not do it? But I actually I think I said in the video, I might do like a top 10 most wanted aspirational buildings, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm going to be doing a top 10 most wanted aspirational buildings. But I was kind of thinking about this, like, what do I really want to be an aspirational building, like me personally? And I guess my opinion might be a bit different because I think there's a nice way around it. Now, there's a few things which I'm like, I kind of wanted to be buildings, and thinking about it, I may have actually designed that list a little bit different. I feel like the sit and rotate really just should be a building, full stop. And like even the Fortune of Chocolatude, this building here, like this just should have been a building, full stop. Like a full-on proper building, not an aspirational building, just a building that earns cash. And I feel like about the sit and rotate. And after thinking about it, I still think it's my favorite out of all the aspirational buildings. I actually think the Krusty Burger oil rig should be a aspirational building. Sorry, should be an actual building too that earns cash. I still think it's my favorite out of all the aspirational buildings, just because I think it's the easiest to decorate. But I do think it should just be an actual building. After thinking about it, and then I was kind of thinking, wait, so what should be like an aspirational building then? Should it just be like weird spots in Springfield? And I was like, actually, yeah, it should just be like weird tourist attractions that don't make sense to like earn cash. So for example, the reason why the popsicle stick to nowhere and the 50-foot magnifying glass and the escalator to nowhere, popsicle stick tower, sorry, the reason why those make sense as aspirational buildings is because they don't, apart maybe the exception of the escalator to nowhere, maybe, I'm not sure, but like it doesn't make sense that they would earn cash, like, because I presume like the buildings that earn cash to me, or a building that should earn cash to me, is a building that is either like a business or like it's a house, so it pays like, you know, taxes or whatever. I don't know what it is in America, but like basically like a, you know, housing tax or a council tax. I guess I don't know if there's a council tax there, but like a housing tax. So it makes sense for like houses, and then for businesses, you know, business tax, etc., or like the money that's made through sales. Same with any other sort of shop. And then for like sort of other buildings, they just have miscellaneous. And I think the same thing. If it's a building that sells business, I'm trying to think of a building that doesn't like sell a business, that maybe there isn't a house and it doesn't sell business. There isn't many, but I can't actually think of one off the top of my head. But you know, if it makes sense that it would pay like taxes or whatever, or it has revenue in it, I think it makes sense for that to be a building. But then, like, with the popsicle stick tower and the magnifying glass and the escalator to nowhere, these are just like weird, random sort of tourist attractions. So really, like, the popsicle stick tower is like kind of even more so. This should just be a decoration, really, but it's in its own little section, which is aspirational buildings, which I like. I think it's cool. So I was kind of thinking of that, and then that led me to be like, okay, what other things do I think really should have been aspirational buildings? And there's quite a few. I haven't listed all of them, but like Springfield Lake, I know it was added in the Heights thing, but generally, I actually kind of think it should be an aspirational building. Main reason is first of all, I think it's too small. It should be much bigger. Don't get me wrong there. But like, mainly because it's like such a iconic location in Springfield. It's a location we've seen so many times. Yeah, it should be an aspirational building. Same with Springfield Bridge. I think that should be an aspirational building. It makes sense. It's like a big thing in Springfield. It's an iconic thing from the show. I generally think that should have been an aspirational building. Not that it makes much difference because it's not going to earn cash, but yeah, I feel like that made sense as an aspirational building. Hell, maybe I'll count it as an aspirational building in my head. The mystery spot, I think, would also be another great place because it's just a random thing with like a like a big black hole in it or whatever. That one baseball player like falls through it and like seemingly falls to his death. Yeah, I feel like that should be an aspirational building. Springfield Gorge, same thing. The Billionaire's Heaven, same thing. And the Murder Horn. Yeah, I feel like all of these should have just been aspirational buildings. Maybe the Murder Horn's like a little exception because it's not as kooky as the other places. Like, I like these. I feel like should be aspirational buildings just because they're big locations in the show, as for the gorge, the bridge, and also the hydraulic dam that we have in the game too. And this as well. This is like, sorry, these like, iconic Springfield places. But then the Billionaire's Heaven and this are just kind of kooky. So I feel like they make sense to be aspirational buildings. So that's kind of where I fall in terms of like this debate. I feel like sort of grand locations that have appeared a few times or have appeared in a really iconic episode, those should be aspirational buildings. And also just like really wacky locations should be aspirational buildings too. So after that spiel, let's get into my top 10. I just wanted to go through that first, though, because I kind of wanted to explain what I personally see should be aspirational buildings compared to what the aspirational buildings are currently. So if you've got different suggestions, that's completely fair. But anyway, number 10, and this one I'm like a little like iffy on, but number 10 is the Alkali Flats, or is it Alkali Flats? I think it's Alkali. Okay, so this one's like iffy if they could really even add this, because the Alkali Flats is just basically the desert that's connected to Springfield, or is a part of Springfield, and we already have desert tiles in the game. However, I don't know, there's that little like hut that was in the middle of it when that one episode where Krusty, obviously the Sideshow Bob episode where they're in this plane, and there's like a little hut that Krusty was in recording his show. So I feel like they could add like just a big ass desert with the little sign there and the little hut in the middle, and just throw that in and just be like a huge desert that you can connect the tiles to. It wouldn't be like anything too spectacular, but it would just be kind of cool to have it, like to have like the official Alkali Flats in the game. And then you could just like connect, dirt to it easy, so you can make it bigger or whatever. You just won't be able to place anything on it. But I don't know, I kind of like the idea of having like I'm like iffy on this. I'm like building it for yourself, or just having it as like an actual building. I don't know, but I was like iffy on this one. That's why I put it at number 10. But I kind of would like the idea of having just a big desert to place in the game and kind of build your desert around it. That was my only issue with ever building the desert. I never felt there was something that like an entrance to the desert, or something that would like almost like the first location of the desert. I don't know, like for example, like Krusty Land section of Krusty Land has the Krusty Land entrance and then all the little Krusty Land fences. Or another example is the zoo. You have the zoo sign and the zoo walls to like sort of cut off your desert slash thingy. And I kind of would like the same thing. Like maybe like the edges of the Alkali Flats would be kind of like a little bit grassy slash a little bit dirty, so you could naturally fade into your desert scenery part of your town. Whereas like currently, if you build like the dirt road and connect it to an actual road, it looks really dumb. And when you have like sand, like you have like a grassy patch of your town and then just sand, to me it looks really dumb. So I kind of would like this if they added it and like they faded it on the edges so it looked like really natural, like sort of so you could connect your desert part and your grassy part of your town and it just looks natural. Anyway, number 9 is Challenge Peak. It's coolish mountain. I don't know, it kind of looks kind of wacky. Like it does look like a wacky ass mountain, and I was kind of going off this just because I had the murder horn. I'm like iffy on if mountains should be aspirational buildings because it's like they are natural landmarks, but this has kind of like this has been like, presumably this path has been marked out, I guess. And I don't know, there's something about it. It just looks really weird. It doesn't look real. So that's why I was kind of like threw that in there. But again, I do think aspirational buildings are hard. Getting 10 was like really difficult. So I had to throw this one in there. Any other suggestions though, I would like to hear them. But yeah, Challenge Peak. I'd be fine if this was a aspirational building. Number 8 is the Springfield Glacier. This one's kind of kooky, kind of like natural. The reason why is because like the Springfield Glacier is like that. it's nothing. So I kind of like the idea of having like a glacier tends to be like this big wide sort of thing, and I feel like just having this small little thing would be kind of funny to have in the game. So yeah, I kind of like the idea of that. Number 7 is the Nuclear Lake. This one's like sort of like, I could see this being a friend prize, so not friend prize, a Road to Riches prize slash a aspirational building, mainly because I kind of like the idea of having like all the little pipes and stuff with the little lake, and then all the, you could have the Blinky in there too, and maybe there could be something unique, right, where you could have like a little task for Blinky. Like Blinky kind of becomes like a sort of a character, a bit like the Barthy and Carly or whatever they're called, and the Burns Dragon and the Tree Stash. Those NPCs, they're like sort of NPCs, sort of decorations, and I kind of like I kind of like them for that reason, because they basically you have to send them to do, you send them and you earn decorations or whatever. And I feel like it could be cool if this lake was added as an aspirational building, but as like an extra thing on top, you had Blinky in the little lake, and Blinky had tasks. I would like really like that. That could be like really cool. And then like I know Blinky does appear in your rivers. If you place a river, sometimes he'll pop up. But I don't know. It would be like an extra little special thing if they actually gave him tasks, and he was actually added as a proper character, as a playable character. Yeah, that was my main reason for that. And they could design it so you could connect it to the power plant as well. So it was like almost like a fourth section of the power plant. Number 6 is the Carter-Nixon Tunnel. I'm like, if 50-50 of whether or not the Bolarama should be on top of it. Part of me thinks that would be hilarious, and part of me thinks that, well, we already have the Bolarama in the game. But what about this? What about a second option, alright? What if you could somehow, like, I don't know how they would do this, but you could place buildings on top of the Carter-Nixon Tunnel. So, like, you would have the Carter-Nixon Tunnel, you'd put, like, it would give you, like, a guide, you have to put your building in storage, and when you click on the Carter-Nixon Tunnel, it's like, place a building on top of this building, and you just basically just place you could just place any building you want on top of the Carter-Nixon Tunnel. I don't think that would be too hard to, like, animate, because all they had to do is just, like, make it so it's on top of it. I kind of like the idea. So the only building you couldn't put on top of it would be, like, the Simpsons house, like, something you couldn't store. Or maybe it would be limited on what buildings you could. Maybe not every building, but like maybe like the Bolarama at the very least. Like maybe the Bolarama, the Quickie Mart, and like something else. So you could place like 3 different buildings on it. Hey, Krusty Burger, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that could be a really cool, unique part of it. Also, I would like it if they could connect the roads to this as well, for obvious reasons. It would be cool though if we had this like little, maybe even this added like a separate new tile of like a little road on these like little wooden things. That could be kind of cool. Like a grittier looking road that's not like the dirt road. Yeah, but I would like this as an aspirational building. It's nothing too amazing or anything, don't get me wrong, but it'd just be a nice little extra thing. Number 5. Now, these 5 are like the big ones that I definitely want, alright? And I feel like I'd be fine either way if they weren't aspirational buildings, but if they were aspirational buildings, I think that could be really cool. And the first one is Springfield Forest, or the Springfield National Forest, whichever one you want to call it. Now, I know that we can make our own forest in the game, and I know that we've got like the biggest redwood and all that, and we've got plenty of trees and stuff, but what if they added an entirely new section of your town, so like a new like 5 or 6 strips of land, and then when you like go to those 5 or 6 new strips of land, the national forest is there. And actually, they could do this in Heights. I would actually be cool if they did this in Heights, because I know some players obviously haven't got every single piece of land, and it takes a while to get them, especially if you don't have the Realty Goose thingy-majingy. So what if this was added? There was new land added to Heights, and there, like in the fog, if you will, is Springfield National Forest, and you have to like send your characters. Maybe it's almost like an extension to Heights, and like almost like a part 3, and you unlock Springfield National Forest, and it's just this huge ass building, like a massive ass building, like the biggest building in the game. Like this thing takes up like, if you zoom out as far as you can, it takes up your entire screen and more. Like I kind of like the idea of that, like just a huge ass forest, when you could have like the gorge here and the cliffs and stuff. I just think they could do something crazy with that. It'd be an awesome ass building, and it makes sense to be an aspirational building, because it doesn't make sense to be an actual building because it's a forest. It doesn't make sense. So an aspirational building does make sense. So that one is number 5. That's my personal idea. I know that's crazy. I know that would be huge and massive and maybe too hard, but yeah, I just love that idea of just having like a massive, huge forest in the game. Number 4 is the Amazing Maze. yeah, this is just a stupid, kooky, dumbass building, and I think for that reason, it makes perfect sense that this should just be a aspirational building. It's just a huge ass maze, and I guess people pay for this? I think it's just like a tourist attraction. So yeah, no, it makes sense that this would be aspirational building because it doesn't make 100% sense that it would be making money. But I think as an aspirational building, it makes perfect sense. And yeah, just be a big. It's just a dumb kooky thing, really. Number 3 is the world's largest moon bounce. So initially, I was like, well, they should just add the world's largest moon bounce as like an actual building. But then I was thinking about it. Wait, no. Because this is a part of like Bart's dream sequence in the episode with Darcy. And he, is it Little Big Girls? Or Little, I think it's called Little Big Girl? I don't even know. But like, it's in the dream sequence, and then I was like looking at this picture. I was like, nah. I was like going through a bunch of buildings, like looking for stuff that could be aspirational buildings. And I looked at this, I was like, nah, it doesn't make sense. But then I looked at it again, I was like, holy fuck! Look at the size of the car in comparison to the moon bounce. And then I saw these are meant to be like little people going on it. Jesus Christ, this is huge. So actually, no, I agree. I feel like this should be an aspirational building. I think it's so big and so ridiculous. Like, can you imagine like one puncture in this thing, the whole thing goes down? Like, I think it's a kooky ass building, just like this, and just like, you know, the other popsicle stick tower and the magnifying glass and the escalator to nowhere. It's so stupid, it's so kooky, it's so dumb. I feel like this makes sense as an aspirational building. In the past, I've kind of put that they should make it so adults can bounce on this. I still think that could be a nice extra added feature, but I don't know if I'm big on that idea actually after all, because it wouldn't make too, like, it's not like a big deal. Sending characters to go to decorations is like, I never do it, and I feel like it's kind of pointless anyway, because once you place that decoration and decorate it, you never go back to, you don't send your characters there to do those tasks, you just send your character to do their actual tasks. So I would be kind of cool with this being an aspirational building. Number 2, it's Mount Springfield. Okay, so Mount Springfield has appeared in different things. Here's it in one, and then it's like a volcano in another. I like the volcano idea. I want them to keep it as a volcano. And again, it's like, well, what do you add it as? Normally, you would just add it as a decoration. But I feel like in comparison to like this and the murder horn, I feel like at least with the Mount Springfield, I feel like it's got an extra unique thing because the Mount Springfield has appeared like several times throughout the show, in the background, as a focus, many different things, and B, I think with the whole volcano erupting thing, I feel like there's an argument there you could make it an aspirational building. At least that's for me personally. Maybe it's just my criteria of what I think aspirational buildings should be, but yeah, I just think they could do it'd be really cool, and you know, it's a big part of Springfield, so I kind of like the idea of it being a building instead of a decoration, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense, it earns money, so there you have it, aspirational building. And then number 1, there's no point of a drum roll, everyone knows what number 1's going to be. It's the world's largest toilet, obviously. Now, this was, if you didn't know, this was in the game files a long time ago. A long time ago, it was meant to be added, but for some weird reason, the Tapped Out team never added it back then. And I think that was like 2013 when it was first in the game files. 2013, and how many years later? 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Let's just say 21. So 8 years later, and it's still not been added. It's mental to me that they haven't added this yet. It was like, and it's not even like people don't want this. Like, it's not like people looked at this and rolled their eyes. People really wanted this. People saw this and were like, oh, awesome, that's coming in the game soon. And then they just never added it. It was so bizarre. Hopefully they add it eventually. Like, I'm waiting for the update that they add it. The longer-awaited world's largest toilet. And I kind of feel like they probably were going to add this as an aspirational building. Bear in mind, it was at a time when not all the aspirational buildings had come out yet. This was only just after, I think this got leaked in the game files just after the 50-foot magnifying glass got added. So I'm pretty sure everyone was, I remember, I'm like, it's shady memory, but I'm pretty sure everyone was like theorized, like everyone was like, oh, okay, that's the next aspirational building. And then it was just never added, like never, ever added. And yeah, obviously, I think this is the best aspirational building that they could add. It's crazy that they haven't added it. And honestly, I feel like they should add this. You know what? Don't even take any of the others on this list. Don't take any of them seriously. Forget all of them, right? I just want them to add the world's largest toilet and add it as an aspirational building, just as a throwback. That could be really nice. So that is just my opinion. Oh, and another thing, add the world's largest toilet permanently to the store. You've made us wait this long, Tapped Out. You've made us wait so goddamn long. You need to add it to the store permanently so every player can get it. And just make it like 20 million donuts or something. Oh, not 20 million donuts. 20 million cash or 50 million cash or 100 million cash. Make it something ridiculous if you want, so it's like really, really hard to save up for. That's cool, but add it permanently in the game. That's what I want. But anyway, that is my video. Those are my top 10. But like I said, the main one I care about is this. All the rest of these could just be added as decorations and buildings. I don't really give two shits. I was just trying to make some kind of video out of this. But yeah, those are my top 10 most wanted aspirational buildings. It also served as a nice excuse to just show a few more things that I want in the game. The main things are really just the top 6. I'd say the top 6 are like things I definitely do want. Maybe not the maze. I'm not that bothered on the maze. But like Springfield Forest, I love that idea of just adding a huge forest. And then obviously the world's largest toilet. And Mount Springfield too. But yeah, that's my idea. I hope you enjoyed. Tell me your thoughts, like I said. And I'll see you next video. Goodbye.